The fall is here, and as the leaves turn color and fall off the trees, it is a sign that summer is over. But thankfully, the fall also means that arts groups across Winnipeg are starting their 2024-25 seasons. One of the gems on the Winnipeg arts scene, especially when it comes to youth and children's entertainment, is the Manitoba Theatre for Young People. This Friday, October the 18th, MTYP will be kicking off their season with a true classic for children. They'll be inviting children to harness their inner wild thing and create a rumpus. Inspired by Maurice Sendak's seminal picture book, Where the Wild Things Are, MTYP, in collaboration with Presentation House Theatre, will be giving Winnipeg audiences their own take on the book, using it as a roadmap for both actors and children, allowing kids to move around, make noise, and interact with the actors on stage. This is sure to be a definite hit, and joining me here in the Classic 107 studio to talk about the play, Where the Wild Things Are, I am joined once again by Sarah Flynn, who is an artistic associate for MTYP. Hey, Sarah, great to have you back.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
It has been a while since I've seen you, and the first question I got to ask is, how was the summer? Did you get some time off?
Oh, the summer was great. Yeah, I took some time off. I went to visit my sister on the coast and then came back to the wildness that is summer camp at MTYP. MTYP never sleeps, despite not having anything on our stage. The building was still full all summer.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Okay, so Where the Wild Things Are opens this Friday and it goes until November 3rd. How excited are you to have it back at MTYP?
I am so excited. This is one of those really special pieces of theater that just brings something out of people that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. And I was reading, the adaptation has an interesting beginning. It was adapted by the Tag Theatre Company in Scotland. Can you talk about how Presentation House Theatre has been presenting it to audiences? And this has been going on for many years, right?
Yeah, so the show's been presented to young people for over 23 years. I think they've done over 2,000 performances. And so Presentation House and, Kim Selody and Linda Carson, who created the show with Tag Theatre, it's just been done so many times for so many kids over so many years. And it's just this everlasting story that kids really resonate with and find joy in. So.
Yeah, and one of the things I was reading in the program, Pablo, the artistic director for MTYP, he was amazed at how something with such a small footprint could be worked around as a play.
Yeah, I mean, you've read the book. It's pretty short. It's a tiny little book, but when you start getting into all the little bits and you start discovering all the parts of it and the feelings and the sounds, and you bring the kids in and you ask them to make the sounds of the waves and to explore what it's like to be in the boat, and you get into all those little bits, it really stretches out into this huge, beautiful adventure story that Max gets to go on with the audience.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. There are just two actors in the play. Linda Carson plays the mom and Victor Mariano plays Max. From what I understand, children will have, they're sort of playing the role of the third character, right? They're the extra characters on stage. Have you seen rehearsals? And one of the things I'm wondering is, how has the workshopping been going for Where the Wild Things Are without a children's audience in the room?
Well, I mean, they've done this show before. They know exactly what they're doing. So mostly yesterday, they were just fitting it into our space, right? So we have a bigger theater than they're used to back in Vancouver. And so figuring out how to get the vines wherever they need to go and how to get the people from the different places to, become part of the waves or to carry the scepter. And they can kind of imagine it, but I actually got to be there and I was sitting in and I was like, oh, we need a kid to do this. And I was like, I'll do it. And so I got to be on stage and walk around. And it's great because when I see it with kids, I'm not going to volunteer to be on stage, but I still really want to. So it's nice that I get to do it in the rehearsal room.
Fantastic. The layout of MTYP is going to be different. Kids can either sit in their chairs or there's going to be mats on stage or next to the stage where the children on the mats can sort of take part in what's happening. How is the play used and how are the kids incorporated into the play?
Yeah, so the play is mostly viewed from the ground. So there's 3 mats, 3 little islands that they call them, on 3 sides of the stage. And those are for the kids and for any adults that can. There's some chairs around for, the grandparents that take their kids to the show and are like, I can't sit on the floor for an hour. But the show is built to be viewed from the ground up. And so all the kids are on these stages and they become a part of the forest that Max adventures into, and then they become the wild things and they get to join in on the wild rumpus, and it's just this huge big party with Max.
It happens on stage.
With King Max.
And one of the things I was thinking about, whenever I think of kids and allowing kids to sort of let loose and go wild, is crowd control. But I was reading Victor Mariano's biography in the program. He spent some time working as a workshop facilitator at elementary schools in Vancouver. How does he keep the play from going completely sideways?
It's so specific. Like, they know exactly what needs to be said to the kids and how to teach them exactly what their job is and what their role is on stage or in this show. And it's amazing how little they can say and still the kids listen to everything that they're telling them. Like a little and a little move of the head and they're like, oh, I have to do this. And they do that. And it's just so clear and concise, and they create this really beautiful relationship with the kids where they're told what they're told, like, the actors tell the kids what to do, and the kids are like, great, we're going to do it, because they want to be a part of it. And and it's such a clear environment that you create this relationship where they want to help make the story happen. And so they know how to do that, and they do.
Oh, great. One of the things I was wondering is so much of the book, and I imagine so much of the play, uses imagination. Does Max ever change out of his wolf costume, or does he stay in it throughout the entirety of the play and just sort of act it out?
He's just in his wolf costume. He's got a hood that he puts on and off sometimes. There's a crown and a scepter when he becomes the king.
Right.
But overall, they're just in their costume.
Fantastic. Yeah. And one of the things, there's like a stage manager, and there's definitely lighting. And I was reading there's some sound engineering that happens in the play. Can you talk about that and how that's used?
Yeah. So Kathy did the lighting design, and Brad Treneman, Kathy Nosati, I don't know how to say her name, Nosati, did the lighting design. They did it, many moons ago when the show was created. But so they create this forest, and there's really specific like sound scapes that they've created to put us into this world, and the lights do all sorts of different things, and at one point there's a party and the lights are bumping, and they've really helped bring us all into this exact world that Max is creating in his imagination. For where the wild things live.
And then the whole idea of traveling across the sea and ending up on the
so it all helps really move that story along and take you with them. And at one point, Linda does this thing with her hand where she's like, and then it became nighttime, and there's this beautiful sound that happens, and the lights dim, and everyone just goes, oh, because we're in that moment with them.
It sounds so excellent. Both the play and the original book, as I said earlier, it's all about imagination. And I guess one of the sort of teaching aspects of the play is just getting kids to use their imagination in the world. Is that right? Yeah,
that beautiful things can happen when you let your wild thing out.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep bringing this up in our previous conversations, but one of the things I very often wonder is, this is a show that can be totally seen by school children.
Yeah.
Are there school tours available, or are you booked up? And
so the first school shows were today. So there was 2 today, and there's 2 tomorrow, and 1 on Friday, and some next week, and the week after, and the week after that. I think they're pretty full. I think if you have some smaller groups, or there's maybe 1 or 2 shows that if a teacher's like, oh, I really should go take my kids to that, there's still room, but it's pretty full. The teachers are like, no, this is perfect for my preschool to grade 3 kids. So
fantastic. And one of the other things I was thinking is, because the students are the extra characters, every show is going to be different. Is it?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, they make a pretty clear contract with what the kids are supposed to do, and the kids do it, but it's always going to have little different things. And, Victor does a really good job of of engaging with the specific kid that's in front of him when he's talking to them. And so there's always going to be little changes in exactly what they're doing to really make it, for each kid individually. Yeah.
Amazing. Sarah, Where the Wild Things Are sounds super fun and engaging. All the best on the run. I'm sure it's going to be just excellent. Thanks for taking the time to stop by and talk to me today. You are welcome back anytime, obviously.
Great. I'll come back for Frog and Toad then.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing you for Frog and Toad in December.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a great season. I'm so excited.